I want to step out here and let Elwood get you a shot of the actual Grand Theater, let you see what it looks like right now, a little after 6 on this Friday morning after the deadly shooting here at the theater last night, where 3 are confirmed dead and 9 injured. Still a lot of folks at the hospital trying to get reports on them as well. As you said, Julie, we're expecting a press conference here in about 20-25 minutes where Jim Kraft, the chief of police in Lafayette, as well as state police, FBI, and Governor Bobby Jindal is expected to be there and hopefully give us more information on the identities of the victims as well as the shooter and maybe why he decided to come into this theater last night and take several lives. That's right, I'm out here live at the Grand Theater where the shooting took place last night here on Johnston Street. 3 confirmed dead, 9 injured, 1 still in critical condition at local hospital. We're still finding out more information about John Russell Hauser, the shooter. He's from Phoenix City, Alabama, small town Alabama, is described by Chief Kraft as a drifter, had been living apparently in a Motel 6 in town since the early part of the month. I did talk to somebody with the Canadian ambulance that said a number of their paramedics who arrived early on the scene said when they walked into Theater 14 where the shooting took place, they saw victims underneath the chairs hiding from the shooter. So it was a very chaotic and scary scene. It looked like a horror movie, they said. That was how they described the theater when they initially went in around 7:20ish right after the shooting. John Russell Hauser, they just released this picture of him, a mugshot. He did have a previous criminal history. Did you see anybody that had been hit by bullets and any type of injuries?
Yes, sir. Well, we came out the back of the building, and when we rounded the corner to come to the front, there was a woman laying on the ground who had been shot in her leg. She was bleeding, blood everywhere. It was a gruesome scene. It was a lot to see and a lot to take in.
The shooting here at the Grand Theater on Thursday has left Lafayette and all of Acadiana in a state of shock. But we're now getting a better picture of how this tragedy actually took place.
This was a slow and methodical. Look, it was barbaric.
This is surveillance video of John Russell Hauser as he purchased a ticket at the front window, then walked into the Grand Theater. He methodically walked down the hall, entered Theater 14, where 20 minutes into the movie Trainwreck, he stood up with a .40 caliber handgun and shot and killed 21-year-old Macy Bro and 33-year-old Jillian Johnson and injured 9 others.
How many shots you heard?
Like 6 or 7. He shot right at people.
Do you have a description of the person with the gun?
He was wearing a white polo. I don't know. He was an older man.
Local law enforcement were on the scene within seconds of the first 911 call that was placed and found Hauser dead inside of the theater of a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Suspect is down. Suspect is down. We have several more victims inside with gunshot wounds.
It is apparent that he was intent on shooting and then escaping.
This shooting has left a permanent imprint on this community and will forever beg the question, why?
Definitely never the same, especially the feeling coming to the movies will never be the same.
We may never know why Hauser actually picked this theater in Lafayette, Louisiana to commit this heinous crime. Jeff Horchak, KLFY News 10.
Here and streaming live right now. That was a horrific scene in there. To see where the projectiles were, the sticks coming out of the seats, to see the blood on the floor, to actually smell it in that room.
Colonel Mike Edmondson with the Louisiana State Police paints a picture of what it was like to walk into Screen 14 after gunshots rang out on Thursday night. Here's a quick recap of the events that took place at the Grand Theater on Johnston Street on Thursday night. We have learned that the shooter, 59-year-old John Russell Hauser of Phoenix City, Alabama, had visited the theater before. Police say he moved methodically and deliberately through the theater. Investigators found 15 shell casings in the theater. 1 person was shot 4 times but survived. In all, 2 women were killed and 9 people were injured. 1 person who was shot played dead. Police used first responder kits, which are used when an officer is down. Authorities say those kits may have saved the victims' lives. Well, investigators are still trying to determine why 59-year-old John Hauser opened fire inside the Grand Theater on Johnston Street on Thursday night. Investigators have been going through his cell phone records, internet posts, talking to his family members and people who knew him back in Alabama and Georgia. As the community comes to grips with the tragedy that hit Lafayette this week, many in the community are getting through it together. Terrence Friday was at a prayer vigil last night held in honor of the victims.
News 10 anchor Jeff Horchak is on the scene as well now to give us the latest update. Jeff?
Well, thanks, Darla and Rob. I actually pulled up into the parking lot at the Grand Theater right after the shooting happened. I believe it happened between 7 and 7:30 because I pulled up at 7:30. I was ordering a pizza at the Mellow Mushroom, just left the gym. I pulled into that side parking lot to come in behind Mellow Mushroom, and a lady flagged me down the parking lot. She's in, like, jogging suit And she's like, get out of here, get out of here. And I asked her, well, what's going on? She said, there's been a shooting. And as I looked down into the parking lot, I could see a lady laying in the parking lot had been shot. There was a couple police officers over her. Looked like a middle-aged lady, maybe in her 50s or 60s, laying in the parking lot and apparently been hit. It's about 7:30ish, and a lot of people were running out, and they looked like they'd already had the theater somewhat locked down. At that time, the lady said that she said the shooter was still inside the theater, so they didn't know whether he was still alive or not at that time. People were scurrying out to their cars because the police were saying, get out, go, just get in your car and drive. And they were running out, and it looked like the lights were already off inside the theater. So I don't know whether somebody turned them off or not. But, yeah, there were people hitting their cars, rolling out, driving by. You know, it didn't look at the time that I saw there were a whole lot of people in the theater at that time, like they'd already gotten out. But, yeah, it was a pretty chaotic scene, to say the least.